Hi everyone, I'm Robin here, and I'm back with Brooke today. So it's been a
Hello.
few weeks because I've been under the weather, and Brooke has agreed to come on and speak with me today. And we wanted to talk about some things that are going on in the energies. Brooke, you want to say hi to everyone?
Hello, everybody.
She's, she's so cute. I have to say too, I'm gonna give myself and my one of my ex-students kudos. So when you're an astrologer, it's really, really hard to read your own chart. So
Mm,
just kidding around, I asked Brooke to read my chart, and she surprised me. Was it 2 days ago? And she sent me
maybe.
a Zoom recording. She read my chart for me. I was really,
Oh,
really, really impressed. So if anybody's looking for an astrologer and you need a good astrology reading, Brooke reads in her own very unique way. And she has this galactic connection. So I would highly recommend, and this is coming from the teacher to the student. Oh, she's no longer a student. She's a certified real astrologer. But if you're looking for something, a new and different way to receive a reading, I would recommend Brooke highly. And you can find her at Rocket Science Wellness on, you're on,
Ko-Fi.
what are you on?
I'm on Ko-Fi, Kofi, Rocket Science Wellness.
Ko-Fi. Yeah, I know, I never heard of that. I always forget. And I always write it down because I think I'm going to go join it. And I always forget. But
I can send it to you again.
you're on Instagram too, right? So people can
I'm on
find
Inst
what,
I'm on Instagram, but I changed my handle, so it's Perception Destiny, which is harder to find. But if you Google me, if you Google Rocket Science Wellness, there will be a link to my Ko-Fi. The
okay.
Ko-Fi is just it's just there. You don't have to look at anything else besides what I offer and then some special messages and then there's some videos on there. So you don't have to worry about looking at all the other stuff on the algorithm. You just look.
That's really the best
Okay.
way. Just Google Rocket Science Wellness
Yeah.
and
Yep.
you'll find her.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you. I appreciate
So,
that.
yeah, no, I appreciate, thank you. It was a beautiful reading, and I really, really appreciated your perspective because you helped me see things in my chart that were difficult for me. It's always hardest to read your own chart. So I always make
Mhm.
my students read their own charts. Somewhat hypocritical since I struggle with my but you actually helped me see my chart in a new and different way. So now it's easy for me to read my own chart. So thank you.
Thank
And,
you.
I always say that it doesn't matter, you know, if you're a teacher or whatever you call yourself, a mentor, teacher, whatever, that we never stop learning, that we're human too. And I think that's always important to share that we're always constantly learning, especially with astrology, because it's never ending. And I think last time I was on here, I did promise I'm going to start sharing some more astrology information. It's like go over some signs and houses and just some basic stuff.
Oh,
And then if y'all are interested in taking the astrology course, the next one will be in January. So of 2026 after the
hmm.
holidays. I don't have a final date, but it will definitely be the month of January. So we'll hook you up with the website links and all of that later on. But today we decided we wanted to talk about something that's going on in the energy. And I have talked about this with several people. And Brooke and I were talking about it right before we started recording. And everybody that knows me knows I don't plan because when I plan, it never goes as planned. So we always just go with whatever comes naturally. I think that makes the best interview. I think it shows everyone that we're human. And yeah, we make sometimes stupid mistakes. But I wanted to talk about, and Brooke agreed, about what's going on in the energy because there's kind of like this murky, mucky kind of everybody's kind of getting hit with something in the energy. And I know a lot of astrologers were talking about that, oh, this wasn't going to be such a bad month. And the end of the month, I will say the end of the month, especially if you're a water sign, or any kind of a mutable sign, it will be easier towards the end of the month because we're going to have a grand water trine. So a trine is all about flow, so things will flow easier. and that'll give us a little bit of reprieve, which we all desperately need. But everyone I've talked to, someone's going through something, and it's to a point where people feel like um, they're starting to get anxiety attacks and panic attacks and things that they can't explain, feelings that are coming from out of nowhere. Sometimes it's anger or rage. Sometimes it's like somewhat depressing or a lot of most of what I've been getting is a lot of anxiety and panic attacks. That's what most people are going through. And those can be very, very disruptive. I myself woke up with a few nights about a month ago, I guess it was, with panic or anxiety attack, whatever you want to call it. Um, and it was very uncomfortable because it had been quite a few years since I had one. Brooke, have you been getting those?
I don't know that I've been getting panic or anxiety, but there have been some waves of like anger, like something that will just kind of come up seemingly out of nowhere that takes me back to a time where I allowed myself to be treated less than I deserved, I guess you could say.
Right. So
So that's been my experience.
how is that coming up for you? Are you being triggered by someone or something, or it's just kind of coming out of nowhere?
All three, really. I've experienced all three. Like you'll just be going about your day, doing your thing, and all of a sudden it's like you remember something and you're like, okay, I have to get this out of my body. Like I need to go, talk to the person if the person's close to you, or do whatever kind of routine or ritual that you would do if there's something coming up for you that, it's just an invitation to get rid of the stuff that's not coming with you going forward.
Well, and before we came on, I was talking about this kind of aha moment that I had, and it actually came to me through a message that uh, I received from a friend that's going through something. And all of a sudden it just hit me. And because I haven't been well, my like you could ask Brooke before we came on, like three times I said, what was I talking about? Like if I lose my way in the middle of a sentence, Brooke, please pick up
I'll
for me
try. I'll try. Yeah.
because I'm very clogged up in the head. And I had made a kind of like a prediction about 2 months ago about a virus or something that would be coming out, and it's not like a COVID situation. I don't want anybody to live in fear, but it's like something somewhere between like a flu and a COVID, but it's not as bad as COVID, but it's a little bit worse than the flu. And tomorrow will be 2 weeks for me, and I literally had to go on antibiotics, and I don't like to go on antibiotics, but I had to because it was going to my chest, and I'm very prone to pneumonia, especially after I think it was 2 years ago I had that pneumonia, and for 6 months I was in and out of the hospital. So I wasn't prepared to put my body through that again. But it kind of hit me that we have Uranus in Gemini. So for those of you who don't know astrology, and I don't want to talk above anyone, and I don't want you to think that I think we think you're stupid and talk beneath you. But Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. So if we think about Mercury, we think about our everyday communication, just like we're talking here now. It's the everyday mind. It's what we do and the way we do it kind of like every single day. It's just normal communication, whether it be phone, text, emails, however you normally do it. When we think about Uranus, it's referred to as the planet of shock and surprise, but it's also the higher octave of Mercury. So if we think of Mercury as our everyday mind, when we think of Uranus, Uranus is your genius. It's the higher mind. Okay. And there's been a lot of higher mind. I have had a lot of higher mind activity, like really weird things, crazy dreams. Really pay attention to your dreams, things that are like off planet, or I thought, oh my God, what's in this cough medicine that they, I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, this cough medicine really takes you places you've never been before. I felt like Star Trek. Um, but I'm not taking the cough medicine because the cough isn't bad now. I only took it for a few nights. and I'm still having those kinds of dreams. So I feel like we have a lot of people waking up, a lot of people confused because they don't know what's going on. It's triggering panic attacks because the energy that Uranus brings is comes out of nowhere. It's quick and it's fast. Just think quick, fast moving energy, and then add shock and surprise to it. But we don't know what the shock and surprise is going to be. The shock doesn't necessarily have to be bad. It could be something really, really positive. Like maybe somebody gives you 2 plane tickets to paradise, right? Maybe
Yeah.
like Mexico would be nice. It's gotten cold here really quick. That was a shock and surprise. Like 2 days ago it was 90 and today it's cold. It's like winter and we're supposed to get freezing temperatures tonight, which
Oh,
basically
wow.
meant we had like one day of fall and now we're going into winter.
Winter.
So it's a little bit crazy here. But that kind of all hit me. So if we have all these people waking up and there's some confusion around that and the feelings and not understanding how to process the feelings. And then the people that are already awake, they're being taken to that higher octave as well. It's like everybody, if you think of everybody taking 1 or 2 steps up, okay? So no matter what level you are, you're going through something because I always talk about this that we're constantly going through changes and constant awakenings. So just because, I'm somebody who doesn't like to use these levels, but I'm going to use these steps. So if you're someone who's newly awoken, okay, or in the process of awakening, you're going through your thing. But if you're someone who's already awake, you're being raised to a higher frequency. So now you're expected to climb the ladder again. But each step on that ladder is going higher and higher. And so much energy is hitting the planet that we're working from the inside out and getting hit from the outside in. So, how are we processing all this from the inside out while we're getting beat up from the outside in? And it can be a lot, it can be overload. So it can almost feel like you're losing your mind, breaking like a circuit breaker, like if lightning hit your house and blew out all of your breaker box. Okay. And so how do we navigate this energy? Brooke, suggestions.
Hmm. Well, for me, it's interesting too, because long before I had, I guess, what you could call my awakening, I always had a saying, and it was when you don't know what to do, don't do anything. And I feel like that's kind of been my whole vibe, to be honest, for the last year. Like sit in the mud as long as you need till until it clears up again. Because if you're sitting in the mud, you can make the water more foggy the more that you do. And also, something that's been really helpful and powerful for me is silence and present moment awareness, because then that's when you really can tell your energy versus everything else. That's when you can really tell, like, am I having any sensations? Am I getting any type of like instinctual awarenesses? Am I intuiting anything? Because whatever you want to call it, you already know what you need to know. You just have to listen. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Well, it does. And you have to remember the steps. Like we're so good
Yeah.
walking other people through the steps, but when you're in it
Yeah.
yourself, but
That's
like
so
it's
true.
hard. Like I got hit one night in the middle of the night and thank goodness I have friends all over the world because I wouldn't want to call
Yeah.
someone and wake them up at 2 o'clock in the morning because I'm having like probably one of the most severe anxiety panic attacks that I've had in like 20 plus years. So I called Suzanne, who's in New Zealand, because I knew it was the middle of the day for her and I wouldn't be waking her up. And she
Mm-hmm.
literally walked me through it. I'm like, I know I'm going to die. Like
Oh.
my heart was just like racing and that's like really, really unusual for me. Like years ago, in my younger years, I used to have like a lot of panic or anxiety attacks, and they come out of nowhere, and you don't really ever really know what. Back then, I didn't know what caused them. But I'm
Mhm.
beginning to think that they're energetic overloads now, that because we're getting inundated so quickly with this energy coming in so fast. On one hand, it just seems like, oh my God, where'd the last month go? I can't believe it's October. And I seriously can't believe it's October. Like, I feel like it
Mhm.
was just August last week and I was laying out by the pool. And, then like,
Yeah.
and then now I'm like waking up and like, we're going to get frost tonight. So
Mhm.
it's when you're in the thick of it, sometimes we need somebody to walk us through it, even though we know the steps. And even though I
Yeah.
knew I had the steps written down somewhere on my computer, I'm going through, and I was probably looking right at it, but because I was in such panic mode, I couldn't find it. I knew to stop and to breathe. And I just kept
Right.
saying, I remember kept saying, you were safe, you were loved, and something else. I can't remember what it was. What was it? You were loved, you were safe, and this is just a passing moment, or something like that. This is just a
Right.
moment. And I kept saying it over
Mhm.
and over and over. And I just kept thinking to myself, oh my God, I sound like a lunatic. Like, let me call somebody. Let me call somebody. And then when I called Suzanne, she goes, you know, you're safe. You know, you're loved. And you know, you're divinely protected. That's what it was. You're safe, you're
Right.
loved, and you're divinely protected. And I just kept saying that over and over. And then I was trying to breathe, trying to do the box breathing, and those kinds of all the things that we know to do. But when you're in
Yeah.
that moment and you
Right.
just almost feel like out of control, that
Mhm.
that you can't really remember all those things. So what I've
Mhm.
done now is I've made a list and
Oh, good.
I'm keeping it like next to my computer, so that if it
Mhm.
happens again and I get up in the middle of the night, I just pull out that, you know, and I have it. And that's
Yeah.
what I'm going to suggest for everyone else. And I am creating a PDF and I'm going to attach it under this video for people that are going through this, because it is a lot and you're not crazy and you're not losing your mind. And we are getting hit with a lot of things. And,
Mhm.
it's not just the energies. I want to say it's like icky. Like the energy's kind of the underlying energy's icky, but the energy
Yeah.
on the top is lighter. So,
Yes.
but it's kind of like we have to walk through the mud to get to the higher,
Mhm.
drier ground, right?
Yes. Yes.
And it's difficult for people to understand. And then if you are watching TV, what I want to say to you is, and this is not a judgment, because I do think we need to be informed to a point,
Right.
but be mindful of how much you're really taking in, because there's
Mhm.
so much underlying fear in the energy. I felt that fear. And I think like you and I, because we're very intuitive signs, being Pisces and Cancer, and you're a double Cancer, so you're really highly sensitive. Um, I think that we're feeling the the energy in the collective
Mhm.
fear, underlying fear in the collective energy. So
Mhm.
that's quite triggering, and that's a lot to carry, um, especially for people who are highly sensitive. And it doesn't matter what sign you are. You don't
Right.
have to be a water sign to be highly sensitive, because
Right.
there you could be, you could have um, like a really strong, say, moon placement, or like if your moon is in Aquarius, you would be highly sensitive and highly intuitive. Um, and it could also depend on what house your Uranus is in. So there's a lot of things that come into play. So not any, some signs I want to say this is a contradiction, okay? Because you're a water sign, you're automatically highly sensitive.
Excuse me.
Double water sign, you can double that sensitivity and be a super highly sensitive. Or
Mhm.
I don't know if I could say oversensitive, but super highly sensitive, or a highly sensitive empath on top of all of it. But anyone at any given time in this energy can become sent over, I want to say overstimulated, over
Mm.
sensitized just because of the social climate, the surrounding social climate with the political environment. And it's not just the United States. Every country is having its own version of what is going on. And people um, stepping up and using their voices, and for some of us in ways we never had to before. Um,
Right.
I was a little girl, and I'm trying to think, I guess it was what Vietnam War. I couldn't think of the word. Vietnam War. And I barely like remember that because I was a little girl, you know. So, but some of the some of what's going on with some people that can't let go of the news or can't be objective about the news. If you cannot be objective about it, I would say step away from it.
Mm.
Or if you're taking it to bed with you and it's triggering you in some way, I would say step away from it. I'm not
Mhm.
saying forever. I'm saying that we should be informed to a point. But if it comes to a point where it's affecting your health, especially your mental health, in this energy where we already feel like we might be going a little bit cuckoo,
Yeah. Right.
um, just be mindful of those things. And I say that without judgment. I haven't watched news at all in probably 3 or 4 months. I used to watch
Oh
it like
yeah.
once a week just to be informed and then just use discernment, what resonated with me and what didn't resonate with me, which I have to tell you, not a whole hell of a lot resonated with me because I feel like
Yes.
we're not getting the truth from any side.
Right.
And then why do we have to have sides?
Right.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I like to be this person that tries to stay centered and listen to both sides and try to find some kind of balance in all of the chaos. And there is a lot of chaos, and the chaos is leading to conflict. But how are you
Mhm.
letting that outside affect you inside?
Mhm.
So what's your
Yeah.
thoughts? What are your thoughts on that? And let me
No, that makes a
it's,
lot of sense. Mhm.
I want to ask you this because I don't have little children, but do you have an 8 or 9-year-old in school? How is that
Yeah.
playing out in school? Like, is that coming up in school? Are they teaching anything about? Because I remember learning about politics in school.
Mm.
I don't know, do
Mhm.
they still teach that? And are they like,
He's not actively learning that right now, but I mean, he's pretty in tune with the energies too. And I think it was like yesterday was a weird day. And I always talk to him when he gets home from school and how was school and what happened and this and that. And he was like, yeah, yesterday was, or as we were talking yesterday, he'd say, yeah, today was a really hard day. It was a weird day, Mom. And then lo and behold, before bed last night is when some of the confessions come out, and he just confessed something that happened on the playground. But
I think we're getting an echo. Are you okay?
my dog's just losing his mind.
Oh, okay.
He's kind of
Every
he
dog.
starts losing his mind sometimes when I go on these zooms, like, and I'll pet him the whole time, and it's fun. So he's feeling the energy too. I definitely feel like he's feeling the energy too. I'm not really good at explaining all of what's going on, but everything that's happening on the sun and all of the solar storms and all of that kind of energy, like if
Why
you're sensitive, you feel it.
why don't you share some of that with us? Because I know you are a Stefan Burns fan, which
I don't understand it. I just like watching it. Yeah. Because the way that I
I
learn is I just have to repetitively watch things. Yeah.
I am as well, which I learned
Yeah.
about him through Pam Gregory, and I think you did as
Hmm.
well.
Hmm.
Um, he's amazing because he's an astrologer as well, so he understands the astrology. And if if no one's ever heard of him, look him up on YouTube under Stefan Burns, and he explains the solar. He tracks the sun and the solar flares. and he
Mhm.
gives us advanced warning, somewhat like
Mhm.
wow, that lawnmower is really loud today. Let him pass.
Yeah,
Um,
lots of distortions.
yeah. Well, they usually cut the grass on Wednesday, but I don't know why. I guess they got behind because we had rain earlier in the week. But um, somewhat like the Schumann residence. I mean,
Right.
um, but he goes into such detail that he explains it and can actually give us the pre-warning, like the
Mhm.
pre-advance notice to the Schumann, which
Right.
is amazing. I don't
This
even
is
I
probably what's going to happen.
follow,
Yeah.
used to follow the Schumann, but I don't anymore because I just automatically like I could feel it in my body. You probably can too.
Right. Yeah.
And I love him and I love the way he explains things. And I like that he explains it in a way that the average person can understand it because you and I are not, you know, we're not what do you call it? Space engineers.
Right. 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 Yeah.
We're
No,
ener
he does.
we're energy
Mhm.
engineers. We're not space engineers. But he makes
Yeah.
it really simple and so I know you've been following the Atlas. And I have
Mhm.
not as much as you have because I got sick and I just could not, I couldn't hold my focus with some of the energy and then my head being all clogged up and everything as well. So
Yeah. Your sound does sound weird right now, Robin. It
it's
sounds distorted.
it's the
Is it
long
that? Okay.
lawnmower
Okay.
ago. So why don't you speak and tell us about what you've learned from him and give us a heads up on what's coming in. There's always something coming in. Don't we have some
Oh.
solar flares coming in or something?
I haven't watched, I usually watch him almost every day. I don't think I watched him yesterday because I was busy with some stuff going on with me. But I really like how he kind of ties the science to what I call the woo woo. And one of the things that he had said a couple weeks ago, or it might have been longer, he was live watching Mount Kilauea erupt. I think it was like eruption event number 31 or something like this. And he was talking to someone, and someone was asking him what he did, and however he defines himself, I can't remember, geophysicist maybe. But so it's like he's someone who has a scientific background and he's delving into asking the great questions of being a human, is what I would say. And he was talking to this man who was there, and he was just explaining. I find it so interesting that the people who are science based have such a hard time entertaining the woo woo. And again, I'm paraphrasing, but the people who are like all over here in woo woo land, kind of seeing what's possible, they can completely conceptualize all the scientific concepts. And then I think it was 2 days ago, he had like this really beautiful quote that he just said on one of his lives about how, true science is actually questioning things. Like, think about if you go back and look at the oldest scientists that ever lived, like that's what they did. They question things, they question what's possible. Science isn't meant to be, I mean, yes, I understand science, they want to be predictable and things like this, but like the nature of science is to open your mind. And I know I'm not really answering your question because I guess I haven't figured it out yet. But what I do know is that when I watch him, it puts those two, like kind of how you were talking about Uranus and Gemini, it puts the two parts of my brains together, or my brain. The part that's like, okay, I believe everything's possible. And then this is tangible and concrete and established, and you can touch it or whatever. Torian, I don't know what you want to call it. I like how he does that. And then when he talks about astrology, he talks about it from an astronomical perspective. So the message is very much the same. Maybe the planets or points aren't the exact same structure as they are when we look at Western tropical, because I think he also uses, I get confused because we use geocentric in Western tropical, and I think he uses heliocentric. So from the position of the sun, or the perspective of the sun instead of the perspective of the earth. So it basically just says like everything is still true. Something being right doesn't make something else more wrong. I don't know. I'm not answering your question, but I guess I kind of am trying to in the best way that I can. If you feel the energy, then you're sensitive and you know something is going on. And if you want to, you can go look him up and you can look at what's going on, and it will be able to bring everything back around full circle for you, because we're feeling it on the inside, like you said, but we're also being bombarded on the outside. So sometimes it's hard to tell which is which, like which is the real thing and which is the reflection. But I don't know.
You know
I've been watching him for
what
a long time and I still don't know how to explain it. Sorry, what's that?
what I like about him is, well, I don't watch him all the time, but have followed him for probably about well over a year. But what I
Hmm.
really like about him, and I like what you brought this up about science and astrology,
Hmm.
because the only difference between astrology and astronomy is that astronomy is the science of
Hmm.
the universe, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
astrology is the energy of the planets,
Hmm.
the universe.
Hmm.
And to me, he brings those things together beautifully. And I remember doing, oh my God, this had to be like 2 years ago. There's an old video that I have on YouTube. I'm gonna get it and I'm gonna load it up to this channel because I think it's on
Oh, cool.
my old channel.
That'll be
And
good to see.
I remember it was with Suzanne Morning, and Suzanne's really out there. I love Suzanne. She channels like Chris Light energy and does light language and stuff like that. And we were talking about something, and she had this most um prophetic thing that she said. I had said something and she goes, I said something about, oh, well, this and this and this. I said, but there are people out there. I said, I'll start getting these messages again. Like sometimes I get these emails like, oh, I totally agree with you. Thank you for not making me think I'm crazy. And then I get these other messages that go, lady, you are crazy. You need to get off of YouTube, right? And I just laugh because I've actually gotten a couple of those. And
Yeah. Well,
she said, don't worry about it. She goes, science is going to catch up to us. And here we are 2.5 years later. And here's Stefan Burns, who's been there probably, I don't know how long. We just didn't run it. And we finally, our paths crossed. Thank you, Pam Gregory, from the bottom of our hearts for that. Um, and I want to thank Pam Gregory because she's somebody that I followed from for years and years and years, even before I was an astrologer, who gave me, I want to say, hope and faith and in a new, she gave me a new perspective on those things. Not that I didn't have them, but she gave me a new perspective and she helped me to realize that the magic that I was looking for was really there. It just wasn't some make-believe little girl fairy tale. That I really truly believe there's magic in every day. It's just some days we have to look a little harder for it because other the outside world affects us,
yeah.
and especially
Yeah.
for highly sensitives. So I love Stefan Burns, but you've been really following the Atlas. Is there anything you
Three-eye
want to share
atlas.
about that?
Oh, well, again, this week's been weird, so I haven't had my normal routine, but it made its closest approach to Mars on I think October 3rd. And I'll be honest with you, I only know about some of this stuff because of the channels that I follow, because I don't follow anything that's really mainstream. I know that because the government was shut down, we didn't have access to the NASA satellites, so we didn't really have any professional images of Three Eye Atlas. But I've listened to a couple things here and there where people have channeled Three Eye Atlas. I'm not necessarily for or against those things, but just the way that I kind of operate is like how I just basically revealed it earlier. When I don't know what to do, I go into silence. And not that reaching out for help is not wonderful. It is wonderful, but I've often found as I've gotten older in life that I just have to go within myself and get really quiet and start listening and become aware of the present moment, and then things are revealed to me. And I always had such a cool feeling about Three Eye Atlas. And then when it turned from red to green, I had a conversation with someone who really kind of follows a lot of ET type phenomenons very closely. And she was like, what do you think it means, it changing from red to green? And I said, heart chakra. And she said, I feel like all systems go. And I mean, it's both the same. And then the fact that it was, pretty much what you would call in conjunction with Mars, because I believe that it is pretty much in our, I forget the way that it's called, the elliptical orbit. Like, it's not that easy to just be on Earth's elliptical orbit. if I'm saying all the words correctly. I apologize if I'm not, but doing the best I can. But I feel like that has everything to do with Mars type energy and maybe whatever these, I hate to use the word toxic, but yeah, these toxic masculine structures that have kind of, I want to say, plagued humanity for a long time. And I feel like for me personally, I usually experience something inside of myself and then I obviously see it outside of myself at some point. But generally speaking, I think there's a switch in someone's life where the outside comes before versus after. So I guess what I'm trying to say is not that I'm predicting anything, but the way that I feel about it through everything that I went through this week, through the triggers, through the things that made me anger out of seemingly nowhere or from another person that used to kind of be, I guess, a comfort zone or a safe space, just completely flipping the opposite way. It has everything to do with kind of like top down power dynamics and people having control over others and just kind of like inequality in the form of some type of a, it's not like toxic masculine in terms of like men, but it's toxic masculine in terms of like where in structures are we being over rigid? Because I would think of a structure to be more of like a masculine type thing, whereas feminine is more like it's like water. It does, you know, it has structure, but it's very movable, it's very shiftable. So where in our lives do we have structure just for structure's sake that's becoming rigid, or in fact we are like boxing ourselves in or diluting ourselves down? I had some conversation with some really close friends about that as well, that some of us are just highly concentrated human beings and we've been diluting ourselves down for years to be palatable to other people, and all of that is ending. That's how I feel. That's not a prediction, that's how I feel. And with 3i Atlas coming into our orbit, I mean, I feel like it's we're being blessed with this new perspective that is the heart's way instead of the head's way.
Now, did they determine whether that was an asteroid or a comet? I know in the beginning they thought it was a comet, but
Mm-hmm.
you're saying it's an asteroid.
So I don't really follow a lot of other things on this because I find some of the science type minded people to be too one-sided for me. And then a lot of it's AI, which is just not something that I want to listen to. I would rather hear it from someone that I feel like some sort of a connection with, which would be Stefan. And he says that it just really doesn't have the same characteristics scientifically as a comet. And he always refers to it as an interstellar object. So I feel like that's what I kind of refer to it as well.
Yeah, so it sounds like even he's not really sure.
Yeah, yeah. Like it's, unprecedented. And I feel like when 2020 happened, that was like the first time we heard that word used a lot. And I feel like that word's going to be used a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. Cause I feel like, and
Yeah,
it's no secret because all of us feel it, but the next 3 months are going to be just like,
every month,
hold on.
and I'm going to have to use that word unprecedented. People are going to be so sick and tired of that word.
Yeah.
But I do want to say this. Um, I agree that there's something, it seems like since Atlas has come, even
Mm-hmm.
before it, like we knew it was coming to our way,
Mm-hmm.
even before it kind of got as close as it's gotten to our planet, I felt something shift.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like, well, we've talked about the balance or the imbalance between the masculine and feminine has been out of balance for so long now. And I do feel like it does have so I agree with you that it has something to do with the masculine and the feminine, the divine masculine and the divine
Mm-hmm.
feminine. And like you, like I never want to make anything sound like a man bashing thing because there's so many
Right.
wonderful men in the world. And like
Mm-hmm.
Stefan is one of them. Like seriously,
Mm-hmm.
he's just a doll baby. And listen, ladies, you go watch him just because he's easy on the eyes. You can learn the other stuff later. And then it's
But
always
you can take notes. Like I have pages and pages full of notes. I just haven't committed it to memory yet. But yeah, sorry,
well,
go
it's
on.
nice to learn from somebody that you can actually focus because they're so attractive. You don't want to take your eyes off of the screen.
Well, too,
It's just
it's like you can tell, at least the way I feel, is that he's very heart centered. You know what I mean? And he knows what he's talking about. You can tell that he has a lot of confidence, which comes from
energy. He knows exactly
somewhere.
what he's talking about. I do feel like he is divinely guided. Um,
Hmm.
and I think he's spot on with a lot of what he says. And because he's an astrologer and he's able to
Mhm.
put that science and that astrology together to prove that it's not a bunch of bullshit like everybody thinks it is, that astrology
Mhm.
is a science. Astronomy was astrology before the word astronomy became in, like
Right.
if you want to go with the old story, if three wise men could cross the desert in the middle of the night,
Mhm.
following the North Star,
Mhm.
which we all know is Sirius, now,
Mhm.
or the Christmas star, we like to call it at Christmas, the Christmas star. And in 1492, when Columbus sailed that ocean blue, yes, I remember that from first or second or third grade. I
That's
can't.
so funny. Me too.
Um, of course, he didn't wind up where he thought he was. He didn't wind up in India, but he wound up somewhere. I mean, there's something to following the stars. They do lead us
Mhm.
somewhere. Okay.
Mhm.
And it
Mhm.
might not be exactly where we thought it was going to be, but I think we always wind up where we're supposed to be. And
I think so too.
science is there to back it up. But
Mhm.
I like him and I like the message that he shares.
Right.
And he's very neutral.
Right. I just like talking about ideas, you know? It's
Well, he
fulfilling to me.
thinks outside of the box, right?
Right. Right.
It's
Hmm.
very Aquarian like. I mean, I
Mm.
don't know what his sign is, but he's very Aquarian like that. His mind is so open and so broad. Like I would think that he would have some kind of a strong Aquarius placement or be an Aquarius sun, moon, or rising to be able
I
to
love thinking about that stuff.
take all that in. Like I said about you, and you said I have nothing in Aquarius. And what do you have in Aquarius? What is
I
it?
have a I think I can't remember if she's referred to as a comet. It's Psyche.
Psyche.
This the mythology of Psyche and Eris.
Yeah. And Eris
So
fights the underdog. And you've always fight.
or Eros, sorry, Eros, Eros. Yeah, I know. There's so many.
Yeah.
That's another thing I'm working on too, is compilating all of those nuanced energies so that I can talk about them more freely. Because when you were talking about, how the imbalance, like you think of the fact that, the Earth is on that tilt on its axis, and there's actually a dwarf planet called Gong Gong that's awaiting official designation to be a dwarf planet. But the mythology behind that is that, he's responsible after he lost a battle at Mount Buzhou, I believe it's pronounced, for tilting the Earth on its axis. So I don't know. You know what I mean? And it's like, think about how babies are born and how they're like conceived out of seemingly nothing. Think about a bird flying up to your window and, participating in some type of a communication with you. Like these things we just accept as not being a big deal, but they are a big deal. It's beautiful, it's magical, it's literally magic in front of your eyes. So I don't believe that anything is impossible.
Yeah. And I don't think that anything is coincidence.
Yeah, definitely. No, I
I
don't either.
here, it wasn't long after I moved in, and I'm
Hmm.
here, and on the edge of the balcony, there's,
Hmm.
I don't know, about 4 or 5 inches, and doves had built a nest on the corner outside of the balcony, and they laid the little eggs hatched. They had their little babies. And in the middle of the daylight, I was sitting and I had the chair in the middle of the room because it was all of my stuff wasn't even here yet. I was still waiting for the movers to deliver my stuff. So I basically had like one chair and a little table, and I was sitting out here and I would watch the little baby birds every day. We'd check on them. And out of nowhere, in the middle of the day, just like this, bright sun, this owl flew up with a I literally was like I couldn't even grab my phone. You know how like you're just stunned, like in sudden
Yes.
shock? I was like,
Yes.
his wingspan. Now this is 12 feet of sliding glass doors here. There's two side by side, two 6 footers.
Okay.
Wingspan took up the whole middle section, which would be 6 feet. I never saw an owl up close. And when I tell you, like, it was like 3 feet from in front of my face. And he just looked me right in the face and he just was like this. And then the next thing I
That's cool.
dove into that nest,
Nest. Yeah.
killed those babies, and I was so mad. And then I
Oh,
kept
yeah.
thinking, Robin, it's the chain of life. It's the circle of life. Like just,
Right.
and then I'm thinking about that Disney movie, what was it, The Lion King, where they play the circle of life.
Oh, yeah.
Thinking
Yeah.
about that, and I'm thinking, well, the circle of life really sucks because I just have witnessed murder. But
Yeah. That's so profound.
then I think it was you I was talking to a couple of weeks ago. Was it you or maybe Suzanne? A hummingbird just came right up and just was
Ah,
here, just like
ah.
going,
Yeah.
just like eye to eye, and I'm
Yeah.
thinking, this is late in the season for hummingbirds, for around here. Like all summer, I didn't hardly, we have a couple, like we have a pair. I'll see the male and the female all the time. And um, this year I didn't put out a hummingbird feeder because of that owl. I'm always afraid he's going to kill things now. But
Mm.
when you see something like that up close and personal, like, and that still takes your breath away, to me, that's like
Oh, yeah.
the magic.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
That's, you know, even though we're all going through really difficult times, we kind of have to try to remember that those little things. Even in the doctor's office yesterday, when I'm in the doctor's office, I was saying something about, oh, I guess I'm not going to Mexico again this year. So we try to go to Mexico in January, but
Yeah.
I'm sick or something happens every year. So won't be going this year either because something else came up. And um I was actually shocked at what he knew. He goes, "Oh yeah," he goes, "There's this place," and he couldn't remember the name of the town. Matter of fact, I have to Google it because I just thought about it now talking to you. He was telling me about
Oh.
the monarch butterflies. It takes them 2 years to travel to this place in Mexico on some mountain in Mexico, and
Hmm.
there they go to um, mate. And there's millions and millions and millions of them. So it takes 2 generations to get there and 2 generations to get back to the United States.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
Cool, right? Can you imagine?
Yes.
Like we,
No.
yeah, like, well, first of all, if it took me 2 years to get there, I'm not sure I would want to come back. I'd be too tired, especially,
Right?
especially the way I feel. But
It's like they might, perceive time differently, or you know what I mean? Because I always wonder about that too, because I have a hummingbird that sometimes will just come right in front of my window here. Like it's like dancing above my window trying to give me a message. And I was like, I wonder what they see when they look at me. You know what I mean? Because it's like I don't feel like they don't see the same way that we see. It's like maybe they just see this big ball of light, or I have no idea, but
I don't know. Don't they have multifaceted eyes? Like,
oh, they might. I should look that up.
so I'm not sure,
Hmm.
to be honest with you. But like a lizard, what is it? The iguana that can turn their eyes 360
Oh,
degrees.
yeah.
Owl can turn his head 360 degrees. I think, or no, I'm thinking a dragonfly.
Sometimes I wish I could do that.
Faceted dragon
Yes.
can see from all. So I really don't know how they can see. That's interesting. We should look that up.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll have to watch the
I mean,
video. I'll have to
yeah,
video to remember what I'm supposed to look up.
I know, right? And it's important to know. Again, this is like the science versus the like, do we have to define everything? Can't we just kind of like accept it and move on? Like, you know what I mean? It's like everybody just is so obsessed, I feel like, with like, oh, I have to have proof and I have to be able to touch it. And I'm like, and again, this is like my unique perspective where like those things aren't as important to me as like just feeling something. I don't know. I
Every
don't
year
know.
I kind of pick a theme for the year. And
Yeah.
last year it was
Oh, I like this.
it was breathe. This year,
Okay.
my theme for this year was I didn't know why at the time because it was actually like I usually do my prediction in like November or December. So within the next, few weeks, I'll be coming up with next year's theme.
Cool. I
And
like that.
so the year before it was breathe.
Hmm.
Really did need to breathe that year. And then
Hmm.
this year
Yeah.
it was this is the year that we're going to have unbelievable faith and unbelievable
Mm.
trust in the unseen and in the unknown. And I feel
Yeah.
that I was pretty accurate with that.
Yeah.
It's not about being right or wrong because if I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong. But
Right.
I think where we're getting lost, and I think where a lot of this anxiety is coming in, is that we're becoming so overwhelmed and so inundated by everything outside of us that we're forgetting about having the trust and the faith in ourselves and in
Mhm.
God or spirit or whatever you believe in,
Right.
that we need to continue to have that. And I
Right.
also feel like, the Dalai Lama said, I don't know how many years ago when he was in Canada, quite a few years ago now, that the Western woman would save the world.
Oh yeah.
Keeping my eye on a couple of particular women in the world.
Mhm.
And I do believe by 2027, we're going to see the masculine and the feminine come more into balance.
I
But
feel that too.
something else is going to go out of balance to bring the masculine into
Oh,
balance.
interesting. I mean, that kind of makes
Balance,
sense.
in order to balance one, something else is going to have to, you're going to have to rock one boat
Right.
it over here to kind of level out this boat over here. And it may be something political, and it may not be. I could be wrong, but I definitely think there's going to be a huge, huge reevaluation and restructuring of the way things are playing out now,
Mhm.
um, in our environment, I'm going to say the social climate, for lack of a better word. Okay.
Mhm.
Because we're still not getting full clarity.
Oh yeah.
And that's part of this waking up process. And part of it too is that this separation needs to stop.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
with what's happening, whether you like it or you don't like it, no matter what quote unquote side you're on, I hate the side bullshit. I just hate the side thing. But
Right.
no matter what side you're on, all this fighting over who's right and who's wrong isn't
Mhm.
really important. What's
No.
important is that what's going on is going to
Mhm.
bring everyone together so
Mhm.
that there will not be any sides.
Mhm.
And that's going to
I
help
feel that.
balance out the masculine and the feminine because there is a lot of narcissistic energy in the masculine energy right now. And the underlying overall divine masculine energy is what I want to say.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
know some people say, well, that's not possible for the divine masculine to have a narcissistic tendency. And
Hmm.
I'm saying, yeah, I think it is. Am I a
Mhm.
1000% sure? No, but I think it
No, but
is.
that's
I
what I
think we're
feel. Yeah.
watching it play out. And I think that suppressing the feminine is only going to go so far, and the feminine are going to lose it. And
Yeah.
when the divine feminine all come together
Mhm.
in this beautiful ball of energy,
Mhm.
that's going to bring the balance that we need.
Mhm.
And it's only going to take we're almost there. It's just going to take a little more work. And it's not going to have anything to do with race,
Mhm.
um, or religious beliefs or
Mhm.
anything like that. It's just going to be about the divine feminine and understanding that we all carry that energy in us. Even the divine masculine carries the feminine energy. And once they can embody that,
Mhm.
that helps bridge the divide.
Right.
So I hope
I feel like
that
it has a yeah. 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 I think so. Feel like it has a lot to do with like that journey from your head to your heart. If you want to simplify it, symbolize it. I made a new word.
I well, I made a new word last week. I think I told you
Oh,
about
I love it.
plars, didn't I? Tell you about plars?
I don't remember.
It wasn't last week, might have been the week before. Whenever Pluto was square or opposing,
Yeah, yep. You did tell me that. Okay, now it makes sense.
and
Yes.
I'll give
That
everyone
makes, yeah, yeah,
the head up, be mindful because she's a Leo. Be mindful of
yeah.
your fire sign. Watch what comes out of your mouth. Blah 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 blah. I said because plars. What I meant to say is because Pluto and
I
Mars.
mean,
I
yeah.
they were.
It could be a thing.
I couldn't remember if they were opposing or square. I think I think they were
I
square.
don't remember either.
I don't
I have it
remember.
probably
But
somewhere.
whenever we have a Plu's, I'm doing it again. Whenever we have a
I know.
Pluto Mars aspect, because they both co-rule Scorpio, there's usually something that comes up,
Oh.
something that falls out of your mouth that probably doesn't come out of your mouth as gracefully as you would like it to, that could cause some kind of
Ugh.
disruption in someone's life.
Yeah,
You have to
I guess you
apologize
did.
for it and hope that the other person accepts your apology. So usually when I see an aspect like that coming, I take all of my fire sign friends and I just send them a message saying, stay home and keep your mouth shut today because
For real. Yes. Take a nap today.
yeah,
Don't
today
like zip your lips. Yeah.
something that you've been wanting to work on, make time for something else and don't even pay attention
Mhm.
to it. Don't put yourself in a position where you know you could be
Yeah.
possibly triggered.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
That's how I use the astrology to navigate my life. It's not
Right.
that I have some crystal ball that I can just see. Like, yeah, I could say that this is a potential and that's a potential or whatever. Now, sometimes I
Right.
see something really, really clearly, um,
Hmm.
and other times there's because some aspects you can read two or three different ways. It depends on the
Hmm.
person's chart. Like I can give a collect
Yeah.
and I could say, okay, well, Pluto's going to be square Mars, so we know there's going to be tension, and we know that there could
Hmm.
possibly be, um, just be mindful of your words. Words could be said that can't be taken back, right? Hurtful words,
Hmm.
or something off the cuff that just comes out of your mouth that you really don't mean for it to come out of your mouth, but it does, and unfortunately, once it's been heard, it can't be unheard. So
Right.
those,
Yeah.
but then other times, if it's in a specific chart, like say, for example, my Mars is square.
Hmm.
No, my Mars opposes my Neptune.
Hmm.
That's a sign of migraines. Now, anybody that knows, I get
Um,
migraines a lot. So whenever something comes by my Mars, depending on, especially if it's Mars hitting my Mars, that will trigger that energy right into like I channel I think it's me redirecting my energy.
yeah.
Instead of anger, I'm channeling it and it turns into a migraine because I'm trying to transmute it into something else
Right.
because I know it's coming. I see it in my chart. So
That
that's
makes sense.
how astrology, how I like to use astrology. And it's fun, right? Like
Mhm.
I love how
Yeah.
really gotten into it lately. It's kind of really kicked in for you. Although I
Yeah.
think a lot of it has to do with Stefan and Pam. I love that
It
you're
could be.
I love that you're learning the dwarf planets and all that.
That's really what kind of sparked that because like Stefan was talking about conjunct Uranus and Pam talks about all of them. And I'm just like, this is so amazing because I've always loved the archetypal energy and
Celestia, Mahi,
like the goddess type associated. Yeah, Salacia. I love.
I love
Yeah.
Manwy. I wanted to name Maverick Manwy because I love Manwy so much. But there's so many.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so much. It's like
There's
never.
a lot
Yeah, you're gonna study till the day
and
you
it's so
drop.
fun.
That's
Yeah, and that's what I like about it. Yeah.
don't get
Yeah.
bored. Don't get bored with it. So,
Right. No, I like that about it a lot.
but I think it's a while. It has. It's been about an hour and a half. That's a long one for us.
I know we can sure talk. We can sure talk.
Done. And we didn't even have a subject.
It's okay.
But for
Everything could just go the way it goes.
struggling, just know that what you're going through is normal and a lot of people are going through it. And I'm going to be doing um probably a webinar event type thing, and Brooke, and I might bring Tracy in and a couple of other people, and we're just gonna talk about our different perspectives on it and take questions for anyone who's interested. So I'll be sharing that in the near future. And actually, I was hoping to have had it done it already, but because I became sick, I wasn't able to. So we'll have that coming up. Hopefully, I'm thinking maybe like the first weekend in November might be a good time to do that, since we're already almost halfway through this month. And let me finish up this last, hopefully in another week, I'll be all clear from this, pretty much in my head now. So we'll be doing that. And we have a lot of new things coming. So we're going to be excited to share it with you. Brooke's a part of it. Um, and a few other people. So I'm really looking forward to that. So I want to ask you all to please hit the subscribe button. I noticed that more people are watching than subscribing. So please hit the subscribe button. Please like, please share. If you have any questions, drop them below the video, or you can contact me through Facebook Messenger or through our email, which you can reach me at thebloominglotuslife.com or Bell's Mountain Connection. Okay, we own both of those. And actually, Bell's Mountain is our LLC and it's our umbrella company for the other things that we do. And we really appreciate it. Brooke, I want to thank you.
Thank you, Robin.
Thank you for the gift of your presence. Thank you for the gift of the beautiful reading you gave me. And thank you
Of
for
course.
insight, because I love the way you look at the world.
Thank you.
I love the way you embody whatever comes your way.
Thank you.
Okay. Love you all. Sending you loads and loads of love. Up the vitamins, the vitamin C, the vitamin D. Um, Eat well, up your greens, whatever it is. It'll be coming around to your neighborhood soon. So you want to be as healthy as you can. Some elderberry syrup. I am doing my video. After I upload this video, I am doing my elderberry syrup recipe that I'm going to be sharing with everyone. I know I promised, and then I got sick, so I'm going to be doing that one. So you can look for that one, and it's really, really easy, and it's really, really healthy. And I'm mixing that in with my tea. So anyway, God bless everyone. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Robin.
Love you.
Love you. Bye.
Bye. Kiss Ali for me.
I will.